Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Shows, Style, and Spirit. I am Ebony, and as you can see from the title of this video, I want to talk about a legal term that I just learned today from going through the legal documents and reading up on Britt Eady's lawsuit against Bravo and NBC Universal. And this legal term reminded me of blogger Miss Black Titanic's lawsuit against the OWN network for everything that has happened in terms of Maurice Scott from Love and Marriage Huntsville suing Miss Black Titanic and Here for Hot Tea. So I wanted to talk about the definition of this legal term, and you'll see why it reminded me of Miss Black Titanic's countersuit. And then I want to talk about the flip side to that, when a person would subpoena Google. So before we get into all of the details, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And like I've said several times during other videos, I am not a lawyer. I have not earned my Juris Doctorate. This is simply my opinion based off of some things that I've Googled and have read online. And also, I am looking at both sides of the coin in terms of Miss Black Titanic's lawsuit and Maurice's alleged actions and the path through which that may have taken him there. Okay, so the legal term that was included in Britt Eady's legal documents was respondeat superior. And if you watched my video about her $20 million lawsuit, I mentioned this term and I read its definition. So all I simply did after I read about it first on people.com, People magazine, and then in the actual legal documents that you could find on Urban Bell magazine, respondeat superior translates to let the master answer. It is a legal doctrine that holds an employer liable for the wrongful acts of its employees when those acts are committed within the scope of their employment. Essentially, it means the employer is responsible for the actions of their employees while they are working, even if the employer wasn't directly involved. And there are more detailed explanations. So the key is that the employee's actions must be within the scope of their employment for the doctrine to apply. If an employee is acting outside of their work duties, like during a personal errand, the employer may not be liable. So I do want to pause there because we know that Miss Black Titanic's countersuit, if I am not mistaken, it was inspired by Maurice Scott allegedly subpoenaing, and forgive me for the mispronunciation with the ing on the end, Google to get the contact info for Miss Black Titanic and Here for Hot Tea. I think the part that concerned them was allegedly the requesting of information that they thought involved their bank account information, their financial information. Now, this scope of employment, what I just read a moment ago, the key is that the employee's actions must be within the scope of their employment for the doctrine to apply. We know that Maurice is a reality TV star. So within the means that he's comfortable, he would show his reality. We know that we saw him studying for the bar exam, passing the bar, and they celebrated that on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And we know that we learned about his business, Credit One, and him being a credit lawyer. He can help people file bankruptcy, reorganize their debts. And we know that he went on Instagram, saying that he basically did not like some videos that were made in regards to an alleged past. He said that that was not his past. Those were things that he did not do. And he was giving so much time for the videos to be taken down, or, he was threatening that he would file a lawsuit. So then the question would be, between the Instagram video and the actual filing of the lawsuit, was that within his duties as a employee for OWN, a reality TV star, or would that be considered personal? Some might say that it's considered personal, but he only did it because the bloggers report on the reality TV show on which he stars. So if he was never on the reality on the reality TV show, those bloggers would have never known him to report the story that Miss Black Titanic reported, and I believe subsequent videos were made. So had he not been on the show, that would not have happened. So was that a personal action, the filing of the lawsuit? So that would be something for the judge to decide. What do you think? Do you think the filing of the lawsuit will be considered personal, or do you connect it to him being on the reality TV show? Because the bloggers only report on him because he's on the reality TV show, I consider that to be a connection, but I'm not a judge. And again, I have not earned my Juris Doctorate. So that is something to think about. And again, I saw this term while reading up on Britt Eady's lawsuit against Bravo. And what are the odds? What are the odds that she is suing Bravo, and she's using this term where an employer can be held liable for an employee's actions? So now, in journalism, you would say like this is being like fair, kind of like when you watch the news and maybe someone is saying that a local business treated them wrong and it makes your local news. So then the reporter will interview both the person who's making the complaint, and then maybe they'll go to the business to get their side of things or a statement. So now I'm going to talk about when someone would subpoena Google. So I'm going to share my screen here, just one moment, and please hit the like button. Thank you so much. So I was trying to figure out, because again, I'm not a lawyer, and I try my best to know the ins and outs of what my peers, my fellow content creators are dealing with, okay? And so I try to watch the videos when I can, outside of work, outside of the gym, outside of me creating my own content. So then sometimes it's just easier for any questions that pop into my head for me to Google to try and get an understanding. So I did ask Google, is it correct to subpoena Google when you want to sue a YouTube blogger? And so the AI overview, it says that subpoenaing Google for user information related to a YouTube blogger in a lawsuit is a complex legal issue with potential implications for privacy and free speech. So I'm going to take a quick pause. That right there lets you know, at least to me, in my opinion, I'm already thinking there's no black and white answer. It sounds like it has to be analyzed, for each time it's done, each time the subpoena comes up. And then we know that it could have potential implications for privacy and free speech. So then I think of Miss Black Titanic's countersuit. Generally, Google LLC, which owns YouTube, accepts civil requests for user data, including subpoenas and court orders. And here are some details that must be included in the subpoenas. The request must be issued from specific courts: Santa Clara Superior Court or U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, or properly domesticated through a California court. Service should be made through Google's registered service agent, corporation service company, or CSC. Reasons you might subpoena Google/YouTube: to identify an anonymous user. If you do not know the real name or address of the YouTube blogger you want to sue, you might subpoena Google for information to identify them, such as subscriber registration information, sign in IP addresses, and timestamps. Now, I want to take a quick pause and note that some of those details that you might ask Google for, it does not include financial information. When I think of financial information, I think of things like the name of a bank account, that or the name of the bank, I should say, where they have an account, that bank's routing number, and that person's account number. That's what I think of when I think of financial information. And Mr. Maurice Scott, I am certainly not saying that you tried to obtain Miss Black Titanic and Here for Hot Tea's financial information. These are just some terms that I've heard when trying to understand what is happening between you all. But these are some items that a person could subpoena Google for: subscriber registration information, sign in IP addresses, and timestamps. To obtain specific information related to the case, depending on the nature of your lawsuit, you might request specific non content transactional information, like the IP address and timestamp related to specific video uploads or comments. Now, I always thought I've heard, like, when perhaps you feel like someone said like really degrading things about you and you report it to YouTube. I thought you would be the one writing down the timestamps, but you can ask Google for timestamps. That's just interesting to me. To obtain specific information related to the case, depending on the nature of your lawsuit, you might request specific non-content transactional information and timestamp related. It just seemed like, I mean, if I was a YouTube employee, I would respond back like, you do it. No, just kidding. But that's just something that comes to my mind. Okay, now there are important considerations and limitations. Privacy concerns. Courts are sensitive to the privacy implications of disclosing user information and may require a strong showing of need before ordering disclosure. Free speech protections. Courts may consider the potential chilling effect on public disclosure if anonymity is easily compromised. Interesting. Okay, so the courts, it sounds like the courts, they are open-minded to trying to protect the anonymous YouTuber. So if you decide to be anonymous, you never show your face, you never say your name, that is well within your right. And you don't have to be stripped of your free speech rights just because you don't want to show your face. So, okay, I appreciate the courts considering a person's desire to remain anonymous. Got it. Okay. All right. And so there is a legal threshold. In cases involving anonymous speech, courts may require a showing of prima facie defamation, clear evidence of harm and falsity before compelling disclosure. So then, in addition to considering your free speech as an anonymous YouTuber, they're also going to look at, what you said. Was it like really harmful and extremely false? Okay, that's fair. You don't want to say anything like, like the whole Tasha K. Cardi B thing, boundaries. So I get that too. Motions to quash. The YouTube blogger or their legal representation can file a motion to quash and validate the subpoena, arguing against the disclosure of information based on free speech protections, privacy concerns, or the lack of a strong legal basis for the claim. So if you are the anonymous YouTuber, your defense could be the motions to quash because you have a right to your privacy and you have a right to free speech. Okay, this is very interesting and very educational. So then it gets into more details. Google can provide general subscriber registration and associated IPs. Okay, they did mention that earlier. Risk of delayed discovery. If you wait too long to initiate legal proceedings to identify the YouTuber, there's a risk that Google may no longer have the necessary logs to reveal their name and address. Interesting. So they probably just keep their records for so many years. That's the thing across industries, even like in the financial industry, like federal law, like they have to hold on to records for so long. But the law understands a company may not be able to hold all that data, just for infinity. So, okay. All right. So it sounds like when someone subpoenas Google for a YouTuber's information, it's not black and white. And the court does try its best to protect an anonymous blogger. Okay. All right. So, again, I am not an attorney. I have not earned my Juris Doctorate, but I wanted to just kind of show, a legal term that talks about holding employers liable. And then what are the parameters around subpoenaing Google for YouTubers' information? All right, so I thank you all so much for checking out this video. I always appreciate each and every view that you all provide. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel and please hit the like button on this video. I hope you all have a safe and pleasant weekend. The weather should be warm. If you're familiar with the film series John Wick, starring Keanu Reeves, there is a new movie out this weekend called Ballerina. And it is, as they advertise it, from the world of John Wick. Keanu Reeves is in Ballerina. It's about a female assassin whose dad gets unalived, and I believe it relates to one of the John Wick films. So I'm going to go check that out tomorrow on Saturday. And of course, I'll work out. I did work out today, Friday. So I walk on the treadmill and then I rotate between either doing machines that work on the lower, like toning the thighs and the glutes, the butt and the back of the thighs. And I do squats and some lunges sometimes. And then on other days, I'll do the free weights for my arms and the machines that work the arms and the back. So just trying to stay as mobile and flexible as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because working out does make you feel youthful and healthy and strong. It does give you a lot of a positive feeling. So that's really helpful to me. But yeah, so I will talk with you all soon and you take good care. Bye.